Alright, I want to show you some things about section 4.1, the coordinate plane. It's used for most types of graphs, and there are some pretty good applications, so let's get right to it. So here's the coordinate plane. The x-axis, is the one that goes left and right, and so I'm sure you know that. So this is the x-axis, left and right, and this is the y-axis. And it's really important that you know the quadrants as well. And so this whole area here, this is quadrant 1. So, and it's called quadrants because it's quad means 4, so we're breaking up the whole coordinate plane into 4 parts. Quadrant 1, we can use Roman numerals as well. And then this whole area here is quadrant 2. And then we're working, I guess we'd say we're working counterclockwise. So then this area here, this is quadrant 3, and then this is quadrant 4. And the origin is where you always start. So the origin means beginning. The origin of man, the beginning of means. So 0, 0, these are the coordinates at that spot. So that's really it for the basics. And let's go and check out a graph. So here's a graph, and I've got some points off to the left. We call them ordered pairs because the order actually matters. We always have to graph the x first and then the y. So I'm going to plot some points. I'm going to plot 2, comma, negative 3. And actually, I'm going to label these points A, B, C, D, E, and then F. So point A, I'm going to go over 2. I'm going to go, start right here. I go over 2. And then I go down negative 3. So I put a dot right there. That's 2, negative 3. I'm going to label that as point A. Then I'm going to go to my next point, and I'm going to plot 1, 1. So again, I always start right here at the origin. I move over. I go to the right if it's positive. So that's a positive 1. So I go over 1. And then it's a positive y. So I go up 1. So I plot that point. And that point is B. I'm calling it, okay? And then the next point is 0, 3. So if it's 0, that means I don't go left and right at all. I don't move. And then I go up 3 units, put a dot there, and I'm labeling that point C. Then I go to the next point. It's 3, 0. So I go over 1, 2, 3. I put a dot right there, 3, 0. And I say that is, I'm labeling it E. So 1, 2, 3, 0. And then E, that's negative 4, negative 5. So I start right here at the origin, and this time the x is negative, so I go 1, 2, 3, 4 to the left, and then I go down 5. So I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's down here. And so I'll label that point E. And then F would be negative 4, 3. So I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Put a dot there. So negative 4, 3. And I'm going to label that point F. So that's pretty much how you plot points. You just do the x first and then the y. Okay. The idea of coordinate pairs is used in chess. So here's a chessboard. Actually, let me move this little thing down. So here's a chessboard, and it's usually labeled, well, it is labeled. The bottom is labeled A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, and then along the other side, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So when you tell people how you're going to move, you're going to move, for example, if I want to move this knight, it's called a knight, I can move it in this spot, and I can move it in this spot. So the way you do it is you say, I'm going to move the knight, I'm going to move it from B, it's in the location of B1. I'm going to move it to B1, from B1 all the way to C, 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to move it to C3. Or that's pretty much the only one I can move. And then I can move all the pawns. These are pawns. So they can move up 1 spot, Or the very first time, they can actually move up 2 spots. They can move to either one of those 2 spots. And the way I would say that is I would say the pawn, so that would be F2. And F2 is moving to maybe F3. Or F2 could also go to F4. So this is what chess players use. So it helps for us to have an idea of location to be able to do this. Okay. Also with maps, it's very common to have, a map will have it'll have it separated like A, B, C, D, really the same kind of thing. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, maybe an I, and then these would be numbered, etc. Like this. And it would be helpful because sometimes when I'm looking at a map, we're looking for the city that's like so dang tiny we can't find it. So we look in the glossary in the back, and the glossary says that that particular city is F7. So that means I would just kind of look here and I'd be like, hey, F7, oh, okay. There's that little city, so I'm looking in a general area and be able to find it. So I have used that feature before with maps. I was just putting a little dot here in the Phoenix general area. Alright, so we got the idea there, so it's useful for maps, it's helpful. And here's the last example. This is a problem you'll do similar. I'm going to say ABCD is a rectangle with coordinates, and it's actually at the origin, so the rectangle is centered at the origin, and the coordinates of vertex B are located at 3, 2. And so then they might ask you questions about this, like they could say, hey, what are the coordinates of A? Well, do you think we could figure out what the coordinates of A are? Well, we could figure out the coordinates of all 4 of those vertices. They're called vertices in plural, and each one is a vertex, like a corner spot of the polygon. So this one, we could find this pretty easily right there. So we could find that. There we go. Okay, so the coordinates of that, if we're going over 3 and up 2 to this one, and it's centered at the origin, that means we'd be going to the left 3 units and up 2. So the coordinates of this would be -3, 2. And what if they ask you for the coordinates of D? Did you figure that out? Well, we go 1, 2, 3, and then down 2. So coordinates would be -3, -2. And then, of course, these coordinates would be 3, -2. +3, -2. All right. Let's see. I guess the only other thing is if someone asks you, like, let me go to the next thing. Possibly if they ask you to plot some points and they say, we want to plot the point 6, 0, and they say, which quadrant is it in? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 0. It's actually not in a quadrant. It's kind of in between the quadrants. So we might say that it's on the x-axis. This would be on the x-axis. And then any other points they ask you to plot, you'd be able to tell which quadrant it's in just by, by graphing it. So, if we did -3, -5, we go -3, and then we go down -5, we'd be right here. So we just say, hey, we're in quadrant 1, 2, 3. So we're in quadrant 3. So just make sure you know that type. So really, that's it about 4.1. It's a pretty basic section.